President, thank you for coming to Central Texas and honoring us in Mayor Hardin Mayborn. I get the privilege to introduce someone that really needs no introduction. You're here today because of admiration and great respect you have for the President. Well, we have a lot of students here, and we as adults need examples of leadership in someone that we admire. And I think it would be interesting to just take a moment and to talk about the leadership accomplishments of President Bush. He graduated from the Phillips Academy on his 18th birthday. World War II was just starting, and he enlisted in the Navy as an enlisted man. In less than 12 months, he was an officer, and he got his pilot's license. At that time, he was the youngest pilot in the history of the Navy.
If you would, and for that I'm very grateful to the trustees here, to Jerry Balkin, to everybody on the faculty, and I'm very honored, and I mean this sincerely, to be here. You know, people say, well, what do you miss about being president? What don't you? There's a lot I don't miss about it. And I say this not gratuitously here, but one thing I do miss is dealing with our superb military. And to see some of them here today, doctorate from this doctorate degree from this wonderful institution. It's just not all business nerds out there. This choir, combined choir, Dr. Guest, was just absolutely wonderful. Let me also salute the professors with us there, those who dedicate their lives to teaching and in so doing are helping to build a better, more hopeful future. One life, one mind at a time. They do the Lord's work. They never get recognized in forums, great public forums, but we are extremely grateful to those who are on the faculty here and other great institutions, not just in Texas, but across our country. Some of you, is brown truism, another 20, 30 minutes. L is for loyalty. You bet 15 on that, baby. And then E for excellence. When he was winding up, he looked around, all the head table people had gone, and there was one little guy saying a prayer sitting out there where Mr. Guest is sitting. And he said, oh, it's wonderful, son, you're spiritually. What is it you're doing? Why are you in prayer? He said, well, I'm just thanking God that I didn't go to Mary Hardin Baylor University. That I'm not going to lecture you. I saw that you had 329 students listed on the fall 2005 Provost Honor Roll, meaning they achieved 3.7 grade point average or better. And another source of my reticence to lecture as it relates to business is it seems like 1,000,000 years ago since I was out there in the business trenches that Drayton very generously referred to. This year, in fact, marks 58 years since I first left college and the life I've previously known back east. I graduated in June of 1948, having served in the Navy for 3 years. Got out of Yale. A week later, I climbed into our red Studebaker and drove to Odessa first and then Midland to follow my own dreams. And it really was a very exciting time for Barbara and me. Our only child at the time, who today is the 43rd President of the United States. We were just starting out. So it was time when possibilities seemed endless. We were full of it, and we just wanted to go out and do something very different than my family, grown up in the financial world back east, had done. The possibilities seemed as endless as the broad West Texas sky. And I don't want to get going on too many war stories here, but when I look back on those early days in business, it's the people that I remember the most. epitome of what I used to talk about when I was president of being one of 1,000 points of light. And simply put, points to light are caring citizens who volunteer their time and effort to make the world a better place than they found it. And whether through public service, or working through their church or synagogue or temple or local club or organization. And I know that UMHB shares a strong commitment to community service. Indeed, you have your tradition of learning and service almost as old as Texas itself. I know you just celebrated Charter Day and the school's founding 161 years ago. And to me, the selfless spirit of service this university embodies, as with the tens of thousands of points of light I've been privileged to meet, is the same neighbor to helping neighbor spirit that de Tocqueville observed so many years ago when he came to America. It continues today, that spirit to distinguish our country as the kindest, greatest, most generous nation on the face of the earth. We care about our neighbors, and we do something about it. And we've seen that over and over again when catastrophe strikes or just in plain day-to-day life. Long story short, you don't have to be a president to make a difference. You don't have to be a first lady to touch the life of your fellow man. All you have to do is care, roll up your sleeve, get off the sidelines, get the game. And I know so many of you are already committed to doing exactly that. The other key to success I would share with you relates to the importance of integrity as it relates to business. For those of you studying the business program here, it's important to be able to lead. It's important to be innovative. It's important to be up with technology and maybe be on the cutting edge of technology. But nothing can replace the need for ethical business leadership. Well, I'm 81 and a half, going on 82. And I'm old enough to remember back when my dad was a banker in New York in the 30s and 40s. And this nonsense would have gotten absolutely nowhere then. Nor, I might add, would it have worked when I was starting out in business in West Texas. Privilege. That means he's kind of rich, out-of-touch Ivy Leaguer or something like that. But I was privileged during the Depression. If I got sick, and I did, pretty darn sick, my dad could pay the bills at Massachusetts General Hospital. Or we had good food on our table when a lot of people were starving back in the Depression days. So I was privileged in that way. But I was much more privileged in terms of values inculcated into me and my sister and my brothers by my father and my mother. My dad did it by example. He went and served the community, then he'd come out at night on the train from New York to Connecticut, go down and serve the town by being the equivalent of mayor, the moderator of the town meeting. And we'd sit there, the little young guys, watching how this great big father would do this, and he headed the USO back, following in the footsteps of Henry Ford back in 1940. So he led by that kind of example. But it was Mother who taught us the values that served me well as president, I think, and my brothers and sisters. She would lecture. And the values were very much like, I'm sure you get from your families. I hope you do. Be honest. Don't cut corners. Give the other guy credit. Don't talk all the time. That was very hard for me and my brother. I gradually learned. She really inculcated into us these timeless, almost cliche-like sense of values. But I'll tell you something. They served me in good stead when I was a kid, and they served me in good stead when I was president of the United States. I'll give you athletes an example. I called up from boarding school, and I said, Mom, I scored 3 goals in soccer. Long pause. How did the team do, George? Very good. That this Cindy Sheehan is coming over there to demonstrate in front of our church. I happen to be what Clinton rudely called the other day one of the chosen frozen. I never heard that expression, but I'm an Episcopalian. And he told me that jokingly at the funeral for King, Coretta King. But she's going to demonstrate in front of our church. And she she says what she's doing is to send a lesson to the mother of the president about her lying son. I'd like to see Barbara get a hold of Cindy. The oldest son modestly predicted, "Dad, I'm going to win by 70%. Don't worry about it." Yeah, sure. He won by 69.5%, but nevertheless, we didn't worry about that election. We did worry about Jeff. He'd lost, and I can tell you, it hurts to lose an election. You always feel, it's not a selfish thing. You just feel you've let down a lot of people. And I did that several times. Most biggest, grandest scale of all, of course, was the presidency in 1992. But we chartered this plane. We flew to Florida. I had the honor of saying, "And now the next governor of Florida," Jeb had won. I went back out to the airport, climbed into our little Cessna. Coming across the Gulf, we'd see the lights of New Orleans off to the right and see the glow of Houston coming up. And neither of us had said a word. And I said to Barbara, "This is the happiest day of my life." And she said, "What about the day we're married?" That was very nice. That was very nice. The only point, I guess, is that you can't measure with the blessings that Barbara and I have had in our 61 years of marriage. There's so many things, so many wonderful things that have happened to us. You can't single out one thing over another. But what really is our blessing is our friendships, our family, and our faith. And you don't have to be President of the United States to put your life, to pin your life on those three things: family, faith, and friends. I feel I'm among friends here today. Thank you all very, very much. We've agreed to do a few questions. Can I give my parameters